How do organisms interact? This is our new lesson for this week. You are going to listen to me as if I'm explaining the lesson in the classroom. The only difference is that you won't be able to answer the questions at once. To solve this problem, the last slide will be like a check for yourself. Um, in case you could not answer it, you have to refer back to me. Um, what are some things that you need every day? You might say it is water, or you might say it's food, or you might say it's air. The question, from where do we get the water? Yes, we get the water from the area around us. From where do we get the food? We get the food from the area around us. Where do we get the air or oxygen? We get it from the space around us. The question, are they all living things? Are they all non living things? In fact, we can classify them as living and non living. Water and air are non living things, as we have said before. Food, it has living thing origin. It can come from plants or animals or both. What is an environment? An environment is made up of all the living and the non living things that surround and affect an organism. So, an organism, he's not living alone in the environment. He always has living things and non living things around him. What might the living things be? The living things are plants, animals, people, let's say. We have some organisms that we cannot see, like the bacteria, and we also have the protists, like the algae, and we also have the fungi, like mushroom and yeast. We also have the non-living things that surround the organism, and it can affect his life or its life. They are the air, the water, the rocks, the soil. Even temperature can affect the life, or sunlight. Plants cannot live without sunlight, so it can affect the organism. This is a forest environment. What can we find in it? As you can see, it can have living and non-living things. Living things, they are like the trees, the grass. Also, we have some birds and animals that are hiding in the trees. We have insects. We have in the soil, we have other earthworms, let's say. We also have the air throughout. Sunlight can reach. It rains. Water is part of this environment. So, the forest environment has living and non living things. Uh, we are living like in a forest environment, and we are affected by living and non living things. What is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is a community of living things and the environment in which they live and interact. Now let's explain what do we mean by a community of living things. A community of living things, let's take for example a forest ecosystem. We have different groups of organisms, like we have the birds, they are one kind of organisms. We have the pine trees, another group of organisms. We have worms, they are another group of organisms. We have the grasses, we have deer, we have bacteria. All of these different organisms that are living together in an area, we call them a community of living things. Can they live alone? Of course, no. They need the environment which contains the living and non-living things and that affect the organism. Let's say the birds in the forest, they cannot live without the air. They need water. Both of them are non-living things which are part of the environment. So, the ecosystem, it includes the organisms and the places where they live that provides them with the living and non-living things that they need in order to survive. This is a forest environment. If you look at this forest environment, you can see deer. You have groups of deer, groups of foxes, you have squirrels on the tree, you have trees, you have even shrubs, small, short plants, or short trees, let's say. You have the water. In the water, you have ducks, another group of organisms. You have the porcupine. You have the dragonfly, the butterflies, the flowers, the rabbits, and much more. Then we also have the sunlight. We have the air throughout. We have the water, which is a non living thing. Every organism in this picture needs the living and the non living things in order to survive. Like the deer needs the grass in order to get food. They use water in order to drink. Um, the fox, they need the rabbits for food. The rabbit needs the grass for food. Both the rabbit and the fox will use the air and the water to survive. The squirrels on the tree, they use the tree as shelter. They can get acorns from it, or the seeds where they can use it for food. Also, they can have other birds with them on the tree. Also, the ducks and the fish in the pond, they use the water, of course, to get water, but also to swim. The fish needs it to survive, to live. This is the place where it lives. The dragonfly needs the insects around the pond in order to get food. Now let's check our understanding. According to the definition, an environment is made up of all the living and non living things that surround and affect an organism. So you have to name living things and non living things from this picture. Don't forget, some non living things are not labeled for you, so don't forget them. When you finish, we want to remember what is an ecosystem. An ecosystem is a community of organisms. Organisms means living things. So, first, I want you to name groups of living things in this ecosystem. And then tell me how do they interact with other organisms. I will give an example. Like, for example, the elf owl, which is to the right of the picture, it is using the cactus, which is a plant, for shelter. It uses the cactus also to get the water from it, and it uses the air around it to get oxygen. So, this is an ecosystem because the elf owl is using the living and the non living things around it. So, it is interacting in the place where it is living. Go ahead, keep on giving examples of interactions like the turkey vulture, like the mountain lion. You have also the coyote, you have the coral snake, you have the badger, you have the ringtail, and many other examples. And try to describe how are they using the environment around them. Good luck.